If you love something and your agenda is to be successful and to win, it's a certain price you have to pay and it's a certain accountability you have to hold. Take a negative and turn it into a positive. Don't be afraid to fail. I wasn't really into professional sports because where I grew up, you only had like 2 television stations, NBC and ABC. We couldn't even get NBA games. So most of my focus stayed on the college game. So I was a big college basketball player, watched college and then baseball. When I started with the Bulls, 5,000 people in the stands, so it was like playing to an empty arena. My mindset was to go try to get back and win. Anytime that, when I left in 93, I left on top in terms of winning. I was coming back in 95, halfway in the season, and still my mentality was about winning. It took me a while to understand my teammates, understand their motivation. I've had countless conversations with some of the players. If I can put it in the most simple terms, is that you have to give up bits and pieces of who you are for the benefit of the team. And that can be something so simple. Fun, sport, sitting down, having lunch, dinner, either way. I learned that later in my years because initially in basketball, I was so focused in my craft that that's what matters the most. But to win, you have to give parts of yourself to other people and look at people in a different manner. I really don't have regrets. I am a person that says, as soon as you look back in your history and you come up with something that you feel like you want to change, something else has to change. Disappointment to me, to win, you got to lose. To be successful, you got to have something that's not successful. To be happy, you got to have disappointment. I think all of those things have evolved and happened to make me who I am and understand the benefits and the privileges I have, and not to wear it on my sleeve, be very humble about it. That's one thing my parents taught me very well, is don't wear your reputation, don't wear your accolades, don't wear your personality on your sleeve. Let it happen, let it be you. It is who you are. Don't hide from it, but don't wear it and rub it in people's face. The thing that I remember the most about my father, and I had him for 32 years, and I never look at it from a negative sense. Obviously, he was murdered, and think about him practically every day. But the thing that I do remember all the time, for a person like myself who live in this spotlight, it's so critical. The thing he's always said: take a pause before you make a decision and say, "What if?" And the purpose for saying "what if" is that whatever decision you make, always either going to have consequences. You think about the consequences, pro or con. You make the right decisions that you feel is the right decision. Now, all the decisions I made, other people may view to be not the right decisions from their perspective. But for me to go play baseball, and everybody says, "Oh, it was a failed opportunity to play baseball," that's what they think. For me, it was the best thing that could have happened for me because it allowed me to go back to the game with a stronger passion. At the same time, I was able to understand the love that these minor league baseball players have, making $1,500 a month, which is nothing. But for them, it was big. To me, to see that helped me put things in perspective, to understand the platform that I was on in 93, that when I went back to it in 95 and 96, I appreciated it even greater. So when we won those championships and we went through those things mattered to me far greater than what I did in 91, 92, 93. People don't see that. People will never understand that. To be success, all they think about, well, he batted .202, and he struck out a certain number of times. Yeah, okay. But the effort was there, and the learning curve and the passion was there that has transcended not just to me, but to other people who are afraid to do things because they're worried about the perception that may come from other places. The best news in today that sells is negative news. And not that I live in a box to where I'm afraid to do things. As my father says, the what if comment is to be able to deal with the consequences of what decisions you make. 1990 or 2005, they voted me as most popular athlete it's ironic that I'm the youngest of the three. If you ask 20 years from now, I'm pretty sure LeBron may beat me. It is what it is. I don't wear it. I don't showcase it. I don't rub it in other people's faces. Someone else's opinion. If you ask me, I could never give you an opinion about that. Jack and Tiger never played against each other. Never played the same jungle. Never played the same equipment. Never played the same golf course. I never played against Will Chamberlain. I never played against Jerry West. To now say that one's greater than the other is being a little bit unfair. I won 6 championships. Bill Russell won 11. Does that make Bill Russell better than me? Make me better than me? Because we play at different eras. So when you try to equate who's the greatest of all time, it's an unfair choice. But for me, I think they're both great. I would never say one is greater than the other. So initially when I got out of basketball, I really didn't know what I was going to do in terms of ownership. I was presented an opportunity to be a part of an ownership in Washington from a general manager. With that came an education and understanding what it took. You look at all my portfolio of things that I'm involved in. My strongest passion outside of the ownership of the Hornets is for Jordan, because I can impact that in a much greater sense. To be able to talk to that consumer, interact with that consumer. It's not a draft. It's not dependent on how the season ends to determine if I have a draft pick in the first 12 picks. If I had to pick of all the things that I'm involved in, the most important is the Jordan Brand, because it is my DNA. It is who I am. Jordan Brand, it is successful because I can impact it. How often do you see the symbol of the brand, an icon that can communicate and say what I think or impact that product? To understand mistakes. The most important thing about making mistakes is being able to learn from them and not be able to duplicate the same mistake. I didn't have the experience of ownership. I knew what it took, but the knowledge in terms of being able to transition from a basketball player who could impact a game and determine the outcome to where now you sit up in the office and have not the same people. You have to be able to live vicariously through the player that you select, which sometimes you don't make mistakes. And with that mistakes, you got to be able to make adjustments. They're not teaching it, and the kids then, by the time they're not used to an age, now have nothing, no decision-making, knowledge. A lot of times they're broke, money, and you can avoid some of those problems, especially when you talk about a kid skipping college and going to pro. Where are they going to get that education? The best support system they have is the agent. So if the agent's not going to educate them, you tell me they're going to learn, the program talks about management, finances. So when they're not represented by that agent, they're out of the game of basketball, out of the game of football, can they still articulate and make decisions just from a business sense? I think that's one of the major issues. You see a lot of players who, when they retire, they have money.